We, of course, have seen the reports that Claude Joseph has agreed to step down from his role as acting prime minister and hand over authority to Dr. Ariel Henry. I don't know that the parties have confirmed that officially themselves, but we are watching closely. We have always said, and we continue to believe, that the decision of who should lead Haiti belongs to the Haitian people. Political gridlock, it has taken a tremendous toll on the nation of Haiti, and it's vital for the country's leaders to finally come together to chart a united, inclusive path forward. And so we continue to urge Haitian political actors, as well as civil society, private sector, to work together in the interests of Haiti's people. We are encouraged to see Haitian political and civil actors working to form a unity government that can stabilize the country and build the foundation for free and fair elections. Ultimately, that is what our policy seeks to facilitate. We are engaging with all relevant Haitian stakeholders to encourage an inclusive dialogue and a consensus-based government. In these difficult times, the people of Haiti should know that the United States is standing with them to build a more stable, a more secure Haiti. And we certainly will continue to do all we can to support the formation of a unity government that is inclusive, that puts Haiti down a more united path.
Just to pursue that, then in terms of the statement last week by the core group, for example, was interim Prime Minister Joseph, was he considered an obstacle to these goals that you are describing?
Well, as you know, Henry was the Prime Minister-designate. What the core group statement called for was precisely what we have said today, calling for an inclusive unity government. And we have always said that, and the core group reiterated this broad message, that the decision of who should lead Haiti belongs with the Haitian people. And so we are encouraged to see political stakeholders working together. The United States has been in a supporting role. We have been in regular contact with various political stakeholders, but also a broader range of civil society actors in Haiti. Ultimately, these are decisions that the Haitian people will need to make. We continue to support legislative and presidential elections later this year, seeking to put Haiti back on the constitutional path. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It was this apparent shift, at least from the United States. I don't know about the other members of the core group, but you guys have been all behind the acting prime minister until Saturday, until this statement came out. And even if you don't want to be seen as putting your thumb on the scale of political leadership in Haiti, it's going to be perceived that way anyway. So what was it that changed? Why did you sign on to this statement, which basically said, okay, designate Henry, go do your thing, and made no mention of Joseph at all?
Well, I think the statement was pretty clear, that it called for a unity government, a consensus government, an inclusive government. As you know...
why did it take sides between one of the two prime ministers?
Matt, we are taking the side of the Haitian people. We're taking the side of... the
side of the guy who was named but hadn't taken office.
We are taking the side of the Haitian people. This is a dialogue that has been ongoing between various Haitian political stakeholders.
Yeah, whether you want to admit it or not, there was a shift in what you had been saying prior to that statement. You were all in support of the acting prime minister, and then all of a sudden on Saturday, you and the other members of the core group came out in support of Mr. Henry.
Matt, we are supporting the inclusive dialogue that Haiti's political actors are undertaking themselves. As you know, Henry was the prime minister designate. Claude Joseph was tasked at the outset to attempt to form a consensus government. Those talks have led him to step aside and for Henry to become the acting prime minister, or at least these initial reports.
His statement and your weighing in on it had nothing to do with his decision to resign, reported decision to resign.
I am not going to speak for Claude Joseph. I'm not going to speak for Mr. Henry. What I will say is that what we have consistently supported is a process that is inclusive, driven by dialogue, in an effort to achieve a consensus government to allow the Haitian people to later this year select their leaders.